and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm doing another romance recommendation. This romance recommendation is going to be on sports romances, but specifically football and baseball. I've already done a recommendation video on hockey romances, which I'll link down below so you can check that out. I obviously will do another hockey romance at some point, but I wanted to focus on football and baseball because I've realized I read a lot of football romances, so I figured I would go ahead and recommend some of those. And also I do have a few favorite baseball romances, so I thought I would recommend those as well. So this video is kind of a mashup of both. I'm sorry if you can hear noise in the basement. They're just being a little too loud. So a lot of these are series, so I'm probably going to primarily talk about the first book, but I will mention like the entire series. So let's just get into the video. So the first series I'm going to recommend is the Game On series by Kristen Callahan. This is a football romance. The entire series is football romances. This is definitely, I think, my favorite book in the series is the first one. The Friend Zone is book number 2. The Game Plan is book number 3. And book 4 is The Hot Shots. So The Hookup is a college football romance, and this follows Anna, who just wants to kind of finish college, finish school, and get on with her life. But she meets Drew, and she's immediately drawn to him, and he is the star quarterback. She basically has a strict rule of no kissing on the mouth, no staying the night, no falling in love, and a bunch of other rules. And essentially Drew is ready to break all of those rules and tear down those walls. It's super cute. I read this years ago, I think back when it was like first published. It had like that ugly cover, and I really loved it. Like, I gave it 5 stars. This is one of my favorite football romances of all time. The whole series is just really good. Book 2 I also gave 5 stars. I highly recommend this series if you haven't read it yet. I'm sure you all have, because it is definitely a very popular football romance, but I highly recommend this series because I really do love it. Another football romance that I'm going to recommend is Sacked by Jen Frederick. This is the first book in the Gridiron series, and the whole series is football romances. This one is definitely my favorite out of the series. Sacked is book 1. Jock Blocked is book 2. Book 3 is Down, and book 4 is Played. So book 1 follows Knox, who is a quarterback, and he's the star quarterback. He has like NFL pros scouting him. He's like on the top of his college career with football, and he is set on pursuing Ellie, who is his teammate's younger sister, and so there's kind of a forbidden aspect there. I remember really liking this book. I enjoyed the whole series, super entertaining, and I definitely really loved the characters in the romance. The next one I'm going to recommend is Misadventures of a College Girl by Lauren Rowe. This is another football romance. This is a standalone. So this follows Zoe, who is in her freshman year of college, and she is determined to lose her virginity. She doesn't want a relationship. She kind of just wants a hookup. So she goes to this party. Then enters Tyler, who is this football player, and he is kind of a bad boy. He has kind of a bad reputation. So Zoe thinks he will be the perfect guy for her to sleep with and then kind of forget about. But things don't really go to plan. They end up bumping into each other a lot and having a lot in common, and things kind of escalate. It's super cute, super funny. I remember really loving this. It was one of my favorite books of 2017. 2018. It was one of my favorite books of one of those years. I absolutely loved this and devoured it, and I just thought it was a fantastic standalone college football romance. The next football romance that I'm going to recommend is the All Lined Up series by Cora Carmack. This is another college football romance series. The first book is All Lined Up, book 2 is All Broke Down, and book 3 is All Played Out. All Lined Up follows Dallas, who hates football. She completely despises it because her ex-boyfriend, I believe, was on a team. Her dad is also well known in the football community, I guess. She ends up going to a college where her dad decides to take a job to coach the football team there. So now she's again surrounded by football, and she meets Carson, who she's really into, and Turns out he is a football star, and he learns that her dad is his new coach, and so there's a little bit of forbiddenness there. I just remember really loving this book and this series, and I thought they were fantastic football romances, and I highly recommend them if you want something light yet also a little bit serious but still really fun. Now on to some baseball romance recommendations. The first one I have is Jock Row by Sarah Nye. This is one of my favorite books of all time. It's so good. This is, again, a baseball romance, and this is book 1 in the Jock Hard series, which I think each book in the series follows a different sport. Jock Rule, which is book 2, I think is rugby. I've tried to figure out what sports this features, but I'm totally blanking on the sport that this follows. And then book 3, Jock Row, is football. So each book is kind of a different sport. The first book is baseball. This follows Scarlett, who is kind of a goody two-shoes, and every week she goes to Jock Row with her friends, which is basically like this huge party house, and it's where a lot of the sports teams go to party and hang out. And she is always dragged there by her friends, and she's kind of known as a jock blocker, so a lot of guys don't want her around when they're trying to hook up with her friends because she just kind of gets in the way. So basically they assign one of their guy friends to keep an eye on her, to keep her out of the way, and it's super cute, super funny, super sweet. I just really loved both characters and the romance. Oh, I loved the romance. And this is one of my favorite books, and one of my favorite books by Sarah Nye. It was just so good, and I highly recommend this one. And then I obviously do recommend Jock Rule and Jock Row because they are also other sports romances as well. This one I'm not sure, but as I said, Jock Row is football. I do really love this series. So the last series that I'm going to recommend is the Brentwood Baseball series by Megan Quinn. The first book is The Locker Room, book 2 is The Dugout, and the third book that is coming out at the end of November is The Lineup. These are all companion college baseball romances. So the first book basically follows like this legend of the baseball locker room, like their team locker room, that apparently it has some magical thing that if you bring a girl in that locker room, like you will end up marrying her and like spending the rest of your life with her. So a lot of girls at this college try to end up in that locker room. Our male character Knox is on the baseball team. Knox meets Emery at this party. He's like super interested in her, and she kind of blows him off. He decides he wants to step up his game and wonders if the locker room is actually like a legit thing. I'm not describing this book very well. If you read the synopsis on Goodreads, it's super vague on like what the story is, but I highly recommend it. I really loved book 1 and book 2. Book 2 I almost gave 5 stars, The Dugout. It was so good, and I'm super excited for book 3. This is definitely another sports romance that I recommend you check out. So that was it for all of my football and baseball romance recommendations. Let me know if there are any football or baseball romances that I should check out that I maybe haven't read yet, or if you have any other sports romance recommendations that you want to leave down below, go ahead. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, follow me on all my other social media, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!